welcome back to Moonstone Crafts. Today for you I have another kitting up. I know a lot of kitting ups have gone up on the channel, or kitting downs, like de-kittings, lately, but that's because I have a lot of new projects that I want to start. And normally I wouldn't start this project yet because I have 2 on the go, but I am going on a little vacation this Sunday. When I'm recording this, it's the let me just check. It's the 5th of August, and on the 9th of August I'm going on a little vacation for 1 week, maybe a day longer than a week, we don't know yet, depends on the weather. So I want to take this one with me. I don't want to take my current whips with me, I just want to start a new fresh one on the campsite. So in this little kitting up, I will show you guys no, I don't want to I want to share some of my holiday stories with you, so my vacation stories. But before I do, I'm just gonna border it off with washi tape, my painting, and I'm gonna replace this cover with some plastic sheets that I got from my 5 panel and see if that works. Because this really formed some rivers while I stored it away before I started it. And I don't like that. And so I'm gonna recover it with some clear plastic to see if that works for future projects as well. And it will be easier to transport because I hope I can roll it up again after I replace this cover with the plastic cover. The opaque cover with the plastic cover. So I chose this nice dotted washi tape to go around it. I always try to think what would look good with the picture because I do want it to look good. I'm just gonna do these sides first, and then I'm gonna get it all off and do the other sides. So I wanted to do this with you guys. So it did create some rivers, and I already took care of those as good as I can for now. And of course when I get to that part where I'm gonna drill it, I might smooth them out some more, but when the rivers are in there and you're kitting up, it's good to just get through them straight away so they don't grow anymore. And of course, if you're replacing the cover like I'm gonna do, it's a very good idea to get rid of the rivers first. This might be a bit exposed, but well, it's a little bit. So let's get this off. And we'll throw that away later on. And I don't mind it going over the key, because I don't use that key. I know a lot of people use keys. I just make sure that the symbols are on the canvas. So while I'm doing this, let's start my little holiday stories that I want to tell you in this kitting up progress. I just have to put it down. Next week I'm going to a campsite just in the Netherlands because we don't want to travel abroad right now with everything going on, of course. And it's also advised to not do that, so. But we did want to go out and just go camping because, you know, you need to chill. So we'll just go do that. So we go to this campsite in the Netherlands where we have been going for, I think, 5 or 6 years. So the past 5 or 6 years. We have been going there. So it's a known campsite for us. We know how everything is there, so that's also why we chose to go there. We know where everything is. how everything works. So in this situation, that's the best you can have. So that will be nice. I discovered this little campsite, it's a very little one, a few years back, because it had horses, and as you might all know by now, I like horses, I like horse riding. So this campsite has horses. You can get some lessons during that, during your stay if you want to. So you can ride their horses and have lessons on them. So it's run by just one little just a family of 4 people. So it's pretty small but pretty nice, you know. Before I continue my story, this is the plastic sheet. And of course you have to be real careful that you put the right side up so it's not stuck on there forever. And that's why I put a little sticker on top of my sheet right away. So now I know which side is up and which side's down. So I'm gonna try to do this and see if I can do this. Get it on smooth as well. So this will be an experiment. So I really want to focus on this. That's why I'm not... Oh, this is terrible. This is gonna take some tries. I might cut a bit of this out if it takes real long. I also brought a ruler with me so I can try to get this on evenly. It's a bit... It's not going straight, so that's good. The edge is not straight, so let's try the other way around, see if that edge is any straighter. That's not. Okay guys, it's gonna take me some time. I will edit it out. And I will be back with you guys when I put it on straight. Okay, you guys, I did it. I don't know if I sped that up, so you see me struggle and do it real quick, or I just cut it out. But anyway, I got it on. I did actually tear up some of the plastic on this side in the middle somewhere, but it's fine. That was because there was an air bubble underneath. And of course on the places where there were rivers, it will be a bit harder. But now you can see the image, so I'm really curious to see if that works really nice. For now, if you lift it up, it of course will come off easier. I'm just curious to know how easy it will come off after it's been on there for a longer time. But we'll see. And of course I'm curious to see how it works working on this kind of canvas with the plastic instead of the opaque paper. But there we go, that's the rose. I will turn it around so we can actually do the kidding up project, which is where you guys were all here for, probably. So this is, in this bag is all my diamonds. I'm using the system again, it fits in perfectly. I already prepared it again. Because otherwise this video will be long and I don't have that much time to record today, and it's hot today in my room. Well, not today, but the next couple of days there's gonna be a heat wave. Yes, we are going camping in the middle of a heat wave. I know, not the best, but we'll figure it out. Let me just see where I can put this, and I think I will zoom you guys in a little bit later on. Oh, I forgot my tray, but I do have another tray. It's a little one, that's okay. Let me just see if this will be easier or this. I think this will be easier. I'll do it like that. And I'll zoom you guys in. Okay, a little bit more there. There we go. Okay, so let me get my scissors also, because that will be useful as well. I didn't prepare well enough for my plastic to go anywhere, so I'm just gonna get it out this time. And a lot of pinks again after I kitted up my last project. I'm gonna use this as my trash for my baggies. So let's see how that works. Okay, so we're going to this nice campsite for 1 week. I will be taking this diamond painting with me and another one that you're gonna maybe see before this one, the killing up of, or after this one, I don't know. Depends on some things. I will prepare them both, of course. I will film them and plan them, but it depends on if my ever moment comes in and I can get that unboxing uploaded on the channel, or if I put that kitting up of the other canvas that I'm taking with me. I don't know why I'm putting this also in my little tray when I can just pour it in the thing. I'm busy talking again. This is also... I'm sorry. I'm just focusing for a moment on what I'm doing except of just talking. So I can do this right. Okay, back to my sketchbook. So I will do some cross stitching there. I will do, of course, some diamond paintings on this one and the other one, and horse riding. And most of the time I go there with my mom together for 1 week, and I ride horse every day. It's like a kind of a training camp, a boot camp to get into shape, I guess. So it's really nice. I know all the horses there because we come there every year. So yeah, it's nice to see them after 1 year again. And I mean, my favorite horse there, ride him again, her in this type. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So that's the holiday coming up. That's the only one this year. Because I graduated from my studies this year, my mom and dad, of course, wanted to give me something for completing it. And I was like, I really want to go to Iceland. 3, 8, 3, 4. I really want to go to Iceland sometimes, but I would want to go with my mom together. So I was like, can we just make it a trip of us two going to Iceland? My mom wants to go there really bad as well, but she's just not a fan of flying in airplanes. Me neither. I've been into one once, and I will talk about it a little bit later on. But yeah, so it would be a big trip for us, but we were like, yeah, let's do that. And we checked out when we could go this year before the pandemic, of course, happens. But we already discovered that it could be better to go in spring than anything else. So we're like, maybe we'll do it next year, somewhere in June or somewhere maybe the month before that, and we can go then. And maybe we can go a little bit longer if you take your father with you and just make it the big holiday that we have every year. So, and then of course the pandemic happened, which meant that we couldn't go really on a holiday this year. We weren't even sure we could go to the other one that we're going to this week, or next week I mean. So we're like, well, now we're gonna just go next year to Iceland and do that as our big vacation, and we can maybe go for 2 weeks, because we haven't been on a vacation this year, on a real one, to outside of the Netherlands. So that's in our plans for next year, of course, it still depends on what's gonna happen with the pandemic and everything. But if everything is going normal, or the world is maybe turning a bit normal next year, I hope so at least. Not just for that, in that case, but just because it's a horrible disease. I hope they can fix it soon, or at least get a vaccine or a cure, so that we don't have to suffer through it. Not cuddling our family and stuff like that, not seeing people, not getting close to some of your friends and all that stuff. And hopefully that we can do that little trip that we wanted to do. So that's in the planning for next year. And now, so that's what we want to do. But now I want to talk some more about some past vacations. So I've never been outside of Europe, which is, I don't know, for America, for people out of America, it might seem not that weird, because I don't think a lot of people outside of America have been to countries outside the America, or maybe just neighboring countries, but because that country is already pretty big, it's easier to go on holiday in your own country. But for us, a lot of Dutch people go to different countries with the airplane and go on holidays outside of Europe. But we never did. And as I was saying before, my mom doesn't really like flying. So I think that's also one of the reasons. And my dad can't really stand the heat. So we don't want to go to the warm places a lot of Dutch people go, with a lot of sun, with plane. So we always traveled by car most of the time. Yeah, I think every time actually. So some countries I've been to in my lifetime in Europe are, of course, our neighboring countries. So Belgium, Germany. We have been to Germany so many times, because that's a big country compared to our country. So you can discover something new there every time. Although after a while, I just got a little bit bored by going to Germany again. I was like, can we go somewhere else sometimes? Not always go to Germany, but after I've not been there for a while, maybe we skipped a year, I'm fine going back there. So Germany's always good. I've been to Luxembourg, which is kind of even smaller than the Netherlands, which is already a small country in Europe. And I have some little story time for that later in this video, like in a bit. I've been to Denmark, to Sweden, so some of the Nordic countries. 963, that's one of the big ones. I have been to Austria, Switzerland. We've been in Italy for one day when we were staying over in Austria, so it's just a day trip. I haven't actually stayed in Italy. I've been to Czech Republic, but I can't remember anything of that because I was very little when that happened. So I don't feel like I've been there. I've been to Great Britain twice actually. I've been to France also twice. But as I was saying before, my dad can't really handle the heat, and neither can I actually, to be fair. I'm not that good with heat either. So we don't go to those countries where it's pretty hot. So we never been to Spain, which is kind of a popular holiday destination for a lot of Dutch people, or maybe even more Europeans, but I've never been there. I think, and I've been to Poland actually. But I think that's it. That's all the European countries I've been to. So let's talk about some past vacations in some of those countries. Let's start with Luxembourg, because I already told you that I have a little story about that. I think it's 2 or 3 years ago we went there, and it's good to tell you that we always went with a car, as I was saying before. And my mom and dad like camping with a tent. So no caravan, no camper, just a tent. So I grew up with that as a little kid. So I don't know any better, and I like it because of that. I like camping in tents. So does my sister. She has her own tent now. So we always go by tent. So we went to Luxembourg to this campground, which was layered. So one layer was higher than the other ones. It's really popular in some countries in Europe that has more of mountains than we have in the Netherlands. We are a very flat country for most of Europe. We are maybe one of the most flat countries. Let me just check this number. So everything was well, and it was at the end of our holiday or break or stay there when there was a thunderstorm. And one thing I don't like about camping, and especially not in a tent, is a thunderstorm. I don't like thunder. I never have loved thunder. I know a lot of people like thunder. They like to watch it and they get excited when they get a thunderstorm. My sister is the same. She loves it. I hate it. I can't. I get so stressed out, especially in a tent, when it thunders. I'm always scared it's gonna hit the tent and everything goes wrong, and yeah. So there was a terrible thunderstorm, and this was at night. So it was at night. And I was already very stressed out by that. My mom was like with me in the inside of the tent, in the sleeping quarters, because yeah, I was not having it. I was very stressed out. And when the thunderstorm was over, it was still a bit rainy, and it had rained a lot during the thunderstorm. But I was like, I hear a strange noise. And I mean, I hear like a river when there was no river near our campground. And we're like, why can we hear a river? So we checked behind the tent, because we were not on the lowest tier of the layers that they had in the campsite, but we were, it's like, this is how it went. Here's a layer, there were caravans and tents and everything, and then there was one a bit higher, and then one even higher, and then one even higher, and there was a lower part, that's where the reception and everything was. So we were one step higher than everything else, the pool, the reception, and some other tents. So we looked down after behind our tent where the lower layer was, and it was just one big river. There was just one big river that was taking everything. So everyone was in a panic right away, of course. My mom and dad and my sister went to check. I stayed at the tent. I was like, I didn't know what to think. I was crying. I was stressed out. It was like, this was a traumatic experience for me. But now you can talk about it and it's a good story, but still not a happy story, but a good story to tell. But at that moment, I was like, we're gonna die. Everything is gonna happen. And yeah, it was not good. But my mom and dad checked out, and the whole bottom side of the lower layer of the lower level of the campsite was gone. So a lot of people were like there was one tent standing on that lower tier, and there were maybe 2 or 3 caravans standing there. Yep. You know what happened to them. They tried to get their tent out of it. When it happened, they tried to break it down, get their stuff out, but they were too late. Yep, the tent was gone, and all their stuff, of course, and those caravans, they were dragged. It was not just a river, it was like this wild river that completely took everything that was in its way with it. So you can imagine being that person that just lost everything because of that. And you know, there was a little stream at this campground, at that portion of the campground. There was a little stream. It was so little. There was like, it was just so little. It wasn't even, I don't know. It was very little at least. And that little stream turned into this gigantic river that was unstoppable and took everything that came into its path with it. So everybody on the campground stepped in, tried to help these people that lost everything. They could stay at other people's place for the night, of course, because it was just before the night. It was late in the evening, so it's not like you can just salvage everything. And it was still raining, so we had to go sleep. That night I didn't sleep well, I can tell you that. Because we were just the next layer up. So if it would have rained longer or more, we would have had to evacuate as well. So yeah, that was terrible. Next morning, look at the damage. We looked at the damage and it was huge. And we drove down the road where the campsite was, because there was a road next to the campsite and it was full of stuff. And even the village next to the campsite, a little bit farther away, everything there was broken as well. It had gone to the whole neighborhood. Yep. So people lost all their stuff. The whole swimming pool was, of course, dirty, and everything on the ground level was dirty. So everybody helped in. So that was the good part about it, about the story. Everybody on the campsite helped in to fix it, because of course the people on the campground, where the campground is from, couldn't have suspected that this would happen. So everybody stepped in, helped the next day and the next few days to get everything back to normal again. Eventually they could fill in the pool. Some stuff was broken, of course, so they had to fix that, and a lot of trees and branches from trees were everywhere. It was a mess, let's say that. I might have some footage of me driving past the next day, if I can find that. I know I shot some footage out of the car when we went, because it was just before the ending of our holiday, so we went not a few days later, and it was still a mess. I think I have some footage. I know I shot some of that footage, so it should still be somewhere. I'm gonna check out if I can find where I have that footage. Might be on my old laptop, which is not even a laptop anymore. But it's just a hard drive, or I mean like a storage system for my old laptop, because it crashed, so they had to get all my stuff out of my old laptop because they couldn't get it working again. me see this. 3688. So yeah, that's one of my stories, and it still freaks me out to this day that we went through that. It had almost become a horror vacation at the end of it, the end of our time there. For the rest, it was perfect, but that was not fun. So yeah. Another country that I've been to is Poland, which is also a special occasion because we would never have gone there on our own, even though I wanted to. I don't know. I always felt attracted to go to Poland from when I was little. I think from when I discovered about World War II, which kind of always interested me in when we had history class. And of course, a lot of the history went on in Poland. So I always wanted to go, but my parents and my sister, they were all like, nah, we don't want to go there. And then my nephew actually, who's older than me, so one of my older nephews, actually had a girlfriend that came out of Poland. And they were supposed to get married after like 5 years together or something. They were supposed to get married, and they would marry, of course, in Poland for her family. So they invited us to this wedding. It was in the fall, so in autumn, somewhere in September, I think, or maybe even November, I don't know, or October, I mean. So they invited us there. So we already planned the trip, and we had to go by plane. And at that time, this is a few years ago, I don't know how long, I never flew a plane. So, and my sister neither. So we never been on a plane. And as I was saying before, like I said this for the third time already, but my mom doesn't like flying, so that's why we'd never been to a plane. So for my sister, it was very exciting. She likes everything like that. She's more of adrenaline type, and I was a bit scared of flying because ever since I was young, I always had motion sickness in the car, on the boat. I'm very seasick. I don't like boats, and it's getting worse over the years than when I was little. I mean, it's even on a river now. If I'm on a bigger boat on a river, that doesn't work. Nope, I'm getting seasick, and it's not even the sea. It's a river. So yeah, not really my style. So I was afraid that because I'm already motion sick in the car, I would get like motion sick in the plane as well, because I'm seasick, I'm motion sick in the car. So I don't know how it's called in the air. Maybe air sick, I don't know. But I was very afraid for that. So, but it didn't really happen. We didn't have really that much turbulence. It was like 1 hour or maybe an hour and a half flight to Poland from the Netherlands where we went. So, and to where we went in Poland. So that was good, but you know, so it wasn't actually bad. We did have sometimes that the plane had a kind of wiggle in the air, and I was like, ooh, I didn't like that, but it was actually pretty good. Only, of course, going up and going down was a bit more scary, but it didn't really make me sick. So that was good. So it was a good experience. That's also why I think I can go to Iceland. It's not too bad. So yeah, but we went there for the wedding. But a few weeks before we would go there on the plane and the wedding would take place, they broke up. They didn't go through with it. She had some problems and they couldn't figure it out, so they actually never married and never got back together, actually. So yeah. we had already booked our flights and everything. So we were like, yeah, we're not gonna cancel that just because the wedding isn't going through. And we had like the stay where we stayed. We had we didn't take the tent, of course, because that's why we went with a plane, so you can't take everything with you. So we just had hired this home where you could stay, this apartment. So we were still going. That was very fun for me. I was like, thank God we're still going, because I wanted to go to Poland, as I said before. And we stayed there for a week. We were close to Krakow, I think. Or no, I don't know. We were close to at least Auschwitz, where, of course, terrible place where a lot of history happens during World War II. We did pay a visit to that because I really, as I was saying, I'm always very interested in that time period. Not because I like it, I'm just very interested. I love to learn stuff from that. So we did go there, and it was very, very hard, of course, to see. I haven't been into everything they have, because they have some very horrid things there. Like, they still have clothes and hair from people and everything, and that's a bit too much for me. But it was very impressive to go there, and you know, it did impress me, and I'm happy. Well, not happy, but I'm privileged that I get to see that, and that I got to see that before. You know, never know when it's gonna disappear, because history is not that important anymore. I mean, I do think it should always stay there to remind us of that terrible time, but you never know what's gonna happen in the future. So that's, I think, the most impressive of that visit there that we did. Trying to remember what else we did there. I don't think we did a lot there. For the rest, we discovered some of the country, of course. I remember the home that we were staying was good, except for the mattresses that were on the bed of my sister and me. My sister and me shared a room, and my parents had their own room. We had both a single bed, you know, for one person. That mattress, you just went through. It was not sturdy at all. So you could feel the boarding that was beneath the mattress. Yeah, that was a long and hard week with not very good sleep. Let me say that. So that was definitely not a good part about that trip. But for the rest, I enjoyed it. I'm thinking, I remember there being a mall, a big mall close to us, so we could just walk over. We didn't have to take the car there. We had a rental car when we were there, because of course we couldn't take our own car. So that was that. But we just could walk to this mall, and it was big. They had a very big supermarket in it, and they also had all these other stores and a lot of food places where you could eat. So it was a big mall, and the supermarket was open like late in the evening and maybe even during the night. It was very, very weird for us, because we don't have that where we live. So that was fun. But nothing else stands out to me from that trip, except that we've been to a special place that has a lot of history to it. And I'm glad I got to see that, you know. I got to see a place where, you know, some of the terrific the horrible things in history happened. And I think we should always remember. So yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Let me just see. I can also talk about my trip from last year. I think that's the last one. I think then we're gonna be through all these diamonds, and we can wrap it up. But last year we went to Austria in early June, actually, last 2 weeks of June, I think, we went to Austria for 2 weeks. And that was because the year before, in December, we needed to give my dad a birthday gift. And he never comes up with stuff. He's like, I don't need anything. And we always want to give him something, of course. So, because he turned 60, I think, we decided on a big gift for him. And we gave him Grand Prix tickets to Formula 1. Because he loves Formula 1, I do too. But he loves it from a lot longer than me, of course. But the Grand Prix in Austria was the best choice for that. We've looked at multiple Grand Prix, but we wanted to build our vacation around it, of course, because it's just going to a Grand Prix. So Austria was the best choice. So that's why we also went on the holiday during that time. So we planned that all out. We even planned out a house where we could stay because we didn't want to go with a tent. It would take too long of a trip with the car, to get the tent out. And it's not an easy tent to get up and get out, to build up and build down, So we decided to go with a little house to stay in. So we already fixed that, and we surprised him on his birthday, which is the 6th of December, with the gift that he would go to this Grand Prix with me. Of course, I got to profit out of it too, because as I was saying, I'm a fan too, so it was a very good excuse for me to also see a F1 race. So we surprised him, and he was like, what? He was always talking about it to us, like, I don't have to go, I don't have to see it live. But we knew in his heart he really wanted to. He just didn't want to, spend the money or anything. But we were like, yeah, you're 60 almost. We have to give you a big gift and you never think about it yourself. So we just did it for you. So he was actually happy about it though. So last year we finally went to this Grand Prix, and I'm happy it was not this year because everything is closed down. So we were just in time, I guess. So we went to Austria. We went to this little house, which wasn't far away from the actually circuit. So we could figure out the route before even the Grand Prix weekend started, because we just made it sure that the weekend that the Grand Prix was in the middle of our vacation. So we had 1 week before and 1 week after, which was nice. So in the week before we discovered where the circuit was. We could even drive underneath the circuit, which you normally can't when the Grand Prix weekend is there. But we could just a few days before, which was really nice. So we got to see it up close beforehand. And then of course the Grand Prix weekend started, and my dad and I went there, and we were very excited. On Friday we got to go, on Saturday we got to go, and on Sunday when the race was we got to go. One thing we didn't realize is that the little place where we could sit was very far away from the way you get into the circuit. We had to walk a very long way to get to those seating places. That was not so fun. And it was also mountain up. So we had to climb this whole mountain to get there. Yes. And normally that would be okay, but it was very hot that weekend. It was, I think, 35 or maybe 30 degrees Celsius, because we work with Celsius here in the Netherlands and in Europe, I think. So yes, and then walking up and down this road multiple times a day. Not fun, let me say that. On Sunday in the evening or late afternoon, when we finally get to walk back to the bus stop where we because we got a pendle bus to get to the circuit, because that was easier than just driving there with the car itself and parking. I was done, and it was so hot, and this where our seating places were, it was not covered up, so there was no cover. So first day I burned pretty badly. I did actually, of course I used sunburn or sunscreen to cover myself up again and again, but I'm so I just burn. I don't care how much sunscreen you put on me, I just burn. I always do. I always have. So I just covered myself in towels for 3 days to keep the sun out, and it was so hot, and as I was saying before, my dad and me can't handle the hot that well. So for us that was also not that easy. But yeah, we got it covered eventually, of course, and it was very nice. It was worth it, definitely. But this year, when this Grand Prix was again without audiences and everything, and we were watching it on TV, I was thinking all the time about that a year ago when we were there, and it was so hot. And every time the helicopter would go a shot over, and I would think about the roads that we had to walk to get to the seating places. I mean, it brought back memories, but it was a good time. I enjoyed it. My dad, of course, enjoyed it, and I mean, it's an experience to have been to such a weekend. I don't think I ever need to go to a whole weekend again. I think I had enough for a few times. But I mean, I did have to wear some air protection, of course, because those cars are pretty loud. But you would think Formula 1 cars are the loudest. No, let me tell you. You have Formula 2 and Formula 3. Formula 2 is louder. Then Formula 3 is again even louder. And then you have the Porsche Super Cup, which is kind of another thing. And those are even louder. So yes, Formula 1 is like the silent one from all of these. So, but that was fun. It was just too hot for me and my dad. And too far a walk. But for the rest of it, it was a good experience. And me and my dad really enjoyed it. And that's the most important thing, because it was his birthday present. And we had some lovely time there for the rest in Austria as well. We went to some other places, which were very nice. And I really love the country in Austria. It's so beautiful. All the mountains and stuff. You really feel like you are on a vacation when you're there. Because our country is so flat. I mean, the Netherlands is the most flat country, I think. So, out of Europe. So, it's always nice when you get outside in another country in Europe. It's way more mountainy. There's way more mountains and stuff. So, but there we go. I actually got it completed, and I actually have some more stories to tell for you in the future. But for now, this one is completed and ready to go with me on my next holiday, where I was talking about at the beginning of the video. So, a question for you guys. What's your favorite holiday story that you have? Like, is it more kind of a holiday story like my first story? Like a more of a horror story? Like the flooding that we kind of had in Luxembourg? Or do you have a happy story? More like last year? Just let me know what you guys have, you know, have for nice holiday stories, because I really want to know you guys. So let me know your stories in the comments. But thanks for watching, and I will see you the next time. Bye!